James, I'm Shabir,
James.
Nazir,
Nazir.
and Spider.
Friend. It's not fair, there's two of them.
That gives away.
He's gone.
The t-shirt gives away.
Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, I don't normally like to wear labels, but I thought I'd make an effort. I've been here a few weeks before, and what I listened to, I've decided I'm going to wear a label, so I don't have to speak. People can see what I think, and already I've had one approach to come and speak on camera.
Oh, excellent. Speak to him then.
No, he says he wants to have a discussion with you.
Oh, yeah.
Regarding...
There's probably
uncertainty.
It would be wrong of me to wear a t-shirt saying there's definitely no God, because I can't. That would be a dishonest statement to claim. I'm pretty sure there's no God. Personally, I might think there is definitely, but if I came out and said that to her, I can't do that. That would be wrong of me, dishonest. So,
Don't you think you're holding two opposite positions?
what in claiming?
Where you
this?
say
No,
probably,
how
but
can I demonstrate?
inside you are saying.
Because if there is no God, I cannot demonstrate that fact.
Yeah, but by what criteria have you established that there isn't or there is?
Because I have no reason to believe in one.
Yeah, reason.
No God is demonstrated to me in reality, so
surely
why believe in it?
Right, okay. But surely information will precede reason for you to be able to use reason.
Yeah, on the information I have,
Right, okay.
you want me, it seems strange that everyone here, there's Muslims, Christians, there's Jews, I've seen Sikhs, although there's Hindus, although it's a different belief system. I've seen Buddhists, which again is not a divine, not a godly religion. Buddha was a man, I believe. And I've even seen Taoists and Jains, all the traditional Chinese religions, all the pagan religions as well, God with a small g. I've seen them. They cannot all be right. So holding a belief in one God, fine, that's personal to you, but you're insisting that I'm wrong and every other godly belief is equally wrong. So why not, you're nearer to being wrong yourself. I'm assuming you believe in a...
Well, I don't really like subscribing to the word belief until the evidence has been established. But if I were to take what you just said, just on cuff, all the religions, again, even the word religion is something that we would have to consider, but if I were to take your reasoning forward, all of them you said cannot all be right. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I would first actually suggest to you respectfully that what you are talking about is actually separate from what we are actually trying to establish. Okay. The existence of a creator would have nothing to do with whether somebody is following the correct way or not.
Yeah, that could be entirely,
So, what other criteria would you adopt?
To me, I have no one has presented any existence for God to... Why... I have no reason to believe in it.
Okay, no problem. But again, I'm only asking if you are looking for some kind of evidence, okay, in normal circumstances, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, sir? James. In normal circumstances, if I wanted to establish something, I would necessarily have my criteria so that I can look at the evidence accordingly, and once I've established it evidentially, I can accept a proposition. What criteria are you using?
To claim that there is probably no God.
Well, let's go according to your statement. There's probably no God, okay? Now, you are going into a negative. I am asking whether it's negative, positive, or anything else for that matter, what criteria are you using to establish whether there is or there isn't?
Because I have no awareness, or I cannot ascribed. No God has made His presence known to me. I cannot. How
Excellent.
could I profess a belief in a God if I have no reason? I cannot
This
see
is
how
excellent.
Need to.
Excellent, James. You say you don't see any evidence as a whole, okay? But again, I know this sounds like as though I'm repeating it. For you to be able to establish something, you need the criteria so that the evidence accordingly can be sought. What is that criteria?
Criteria for belief is this evidence supporting the belief in a God. So it must be demonstrated somehow.
What is somehow?
Well,
You see, here is maybe we'll make it a bit easier if taking forward. You see, if I were to tell you, right, okay, can I, with my naked eye, view subatomic particles?
No, of course not.
They don't exist.
No, but there is.
Sorry. I'm saying I can't
Right,
see them, and I don't think there's any
Right.
evidence that somebody can put
No,
forward
that's
for
quite
me.
right, yeah, you don't believe
Now,
so, then
now
right.
reverse that, and you are in that same position.
No, because
There is scientific method to establish if the
Sorry.
atomic theory
real or not.
doesn't.
No.
And they aren't.
Right. I said, if with my naked eye I
But
wanted
you
to see
conflating both.
how?
That he's in the same position, but he isn't.
Why is he not?
Because atoms are like scientific concept
Atomic-
established by scientific
No,
method.
sorry.
Or not?
No. Again, you're missing it. You see, because
I don't see atoms. I don't need to see atoms.
you don't need to see atoms,
I don't know.
so they don't exist.
No, they exist. I mean, they exist in a sense. It's a concept.
In a sense, it's a
a
concept.
concept.
Exactly. But how do you establish the concept?
Well, this is science.
What evidence?
Science
What
works.
evidence would you use?
Well, there is evidence of something happening.
There is something happening. Tell me what.
Well, there is like movement, probability of
Right, excellent.
electrons,
What
yeah.
you are basically saying is there is something there, there is an effect that we can actually test, but we can't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
My question was, can we see it?
No, obviously not.
No.
What do you mean, obviously not?
You cannot see
Okay.
atoms
Now,
with the naked eye.
now, if we were to logically approach this on a second step, James, sorry.
So I must say,
Sure.
you don't believe in atomic theory. That is fine.
Sorry, James. I never even said I believe or I don't believe.
sorry,
and
no.
I did say at
You're
the start the
suggesting
word
that-
belief I do not subscribe to.
Right.
So can we deal with the evidence
You're
only?
suggesting if I cannot see atoms with the naked eye, so I don't believe in atomic theory.
No,
But
I didn't say that.
atomic-
I'll say it again. I'm saying if I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Right, that's fine.
Do you
It doesn't-
accept that proposition?
No.
Why
because
not?
The existence of something it has no regard for my belief or non-belief in it. It exists or it doesn't exist.
Ah, excellent. And what evidence would you use to establish its existence?
Atoms or something generally.
What do you mean something
No,
generally?
what-
Right. Basically, take it a step further. You see, if we are looking at the natural world, okay, and that is what we can only look at.
Yep.
Yeah. When I use the word natural, I'm taking the whole of the universe into
Yeah.
consideration. Okay. If we take a logical step and consider this, that if there is this creator, okay, if there is, then logic would dictate that one would need to know what this creator is. Why I say logic would dictate? Because you see, if me and you are incapable, and we are incapable of knowing literally everything just in the city of London right now, okay, and the idea right across all these religions that you mentioned, yeah, right across the board, they all have a concept of a creator which suggests that the creator is all powerful as a concept. The creator, by definition, is the one who created everything. Now, wouldn't logic tell you that if that, sorry, I'll just come to you. Sorry, brother. Well, I did say if, it's an assumption. Now, we need to use the evidence to establish whether it is an assumption or anything else. So, Yeah, so question here is this, that if that is what we have, logically speaking and by definition, yeah, if there is an all-powerful being, yes, and we can't even tell what is happening in the city of London, then logic would dictate that some form, if there is some form of communication between this being and the rest of us who have the intelligence to establish either accept or reject, okay?
Yeah.
There should be some form of communication by which we can then establish how the Creator, for us evidentially, should be established. Don't you think that's logical?
Again, you're having to decide what the criteria for that creator is. Then you're saying that you or humans have to decide on the nature of that creator. And what?
And I didn't say that, James.
I say none is indicated.
Did
here.
you just hear what I said respectfully, James? The last bit I will go again. If there is, according to all those religions that you mentioned earlier on, they have a concept of what this creator is, an all-powerful creator.
Yeah.
So if the creator, by definition of the word, created everything, okay, then necessarily, as I said, if we don't even have the ability to know what is going on in the City of London, forget the City of London, just in our own bodies we don't know what is going on, okay? So the question therefore logically will arise that there has to be some form of communication if there is this being, from that being to the humans, because the humans have this ability to consider things, then the evidence that ought to be established by that superior being is what we ought to consider. Isn't that logical?
Yes.
It is. Have you done that?
I've not been presented with any evidence.
Right. Excellent.
I have no evidence to consider to posit the existence.
Well, I would suggest to you, James, that what you are basically saying to me is you haven't actually looked for the evidence, but you've taken the position that there is no evidence available. Am I correct in that thinking?
I don't have to look for the evidence, surely. When you're telling me that I've seen this creator God, if he hasn't.
Sorry,
not
James,
presented
brother.
any evidence,
What is
I
the
believe.
scientific method?
What's that?
What is the scientific method?
What? Like hypothesis.
Sorry, I do apologize.
Hypothesis.
You start off with the hypothesis,
Yeah,
then what?
Then you develop methods to test it.
Yes,
If it's like confirmed your hypothesis, it
yes.
becomes
Then you
a
test it
theory.
and you retest it and establish whether
Yeah, and
it
then-
is
then you
a
got
fact.
Theory,
Okay.
fact, theory.
Would you need to consider evidence for that?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I cannot
Some
say there's.
evidence to
Do you agree with the
to build
idea
theory
of
upon.
Yeah.
exactly? Now the question therefore then is logical, that if you have not even sought the evidence, on what basis are you holding the position?
Yeah, but what methods do you have?
But he said,
That is what I'm discussing.
he said he hadn't seen the evidence. He didn't say he wasn't seeking it.
I don't think you heard what he said, respectfully. What I'm saying is that if you are going to hold a position, then one logically would assume that you have considered the evidence before holding the position. Is that so?
Ideally. most
Ideally.
people don't use logic.
Thank you. That's the point I'm making. You see,
Go back to
I
your
don't believe in fairies, but I'm not going to carry out research to try and back up that opinion. I don't believe in fairies at the bottom of my garden, but I don't need
No,
research to tell me that.
well, actually, I agree with you. You see, there are many nonsensical things that we all think we accept sometime, but we can discard them. But it has to be a logical approach. That is what I'm establishing.
Sorry, that
Yeah?
was the next thing I was going to touch on. A creator God, fairies, Santa Claus,
Yes.
the Easter Bunny,
Yes.
the Tooth Fairy,
Yes.
dragons.
Yes.
The idea is
Yes.
the same, and
Right.
I can't disprove Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy
Yeah,
or the Easter
you-
Bunny. It's impossible for me
The
to
gods,
do
You
so.
see- you see-
Mercury, Venus, all these
Excellent.
different gods.
Excellent. You see, James, at the start, I made it very clear to you that look, you must have a criteria, okay? Without the criteria, you will become confused, as is happening respectfully. Okay? If you don't have the criteria to establish your proposition based on evidence, then you will believe in fairies. But to then equate fairies with the idea of a creator, in which I've already said to you that all the religions you mentioned, yes, all have a concept of a creator.
They all have a different idea of a creator.
Sorry?
They all have a different idea of a creator.
That can only be established once we have considered the evidence. Do you agree?
What do you mean by evidence?
Well, there we are. You see, if I were to say the Jew has got some information which he considered to be evidence, the Muslim which he considered to be evidence, the Hindu which he considered, should you not assess that evidence?
Right.
Logically.
I'm not
Should
sure
you
it's
not?
possible to assess all evidence logically.
Why not?
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
No, that's subjective. Evidence,
so I can't-
evidence.
subjective.
Sorry.
So
Evidence
I can't-
is
there's
objective.
subjective logic to it.
Evidence is objective.
So there are parts of our experience.
No, I don't think you just heard me respectfully, sir. I'm Shabir, you are? Sorry, James. Matthew. Evidence is objective. How it ice cream taste is subjective. You can tell the difference. So if we go back to that, you see, if you look at the evidence, thereafter hold your position, I would have no argument. But if you are not going to even consider, simply, and I have to respectfully say this, simply because you are relying on authority, because I did see this advert being posited on the buses of London.
Yeah, I didn't realise that when I bought this tea, but
Don't worry about
buses,
it. I'm aware of it. You okay?
Yeah.
But the proponents of this idea, mine is a simple view. I don't mind whatever claim someone wants to make, but you must logically, reasonably, and rationally establish a proposition through the evidence. Once you have collected the evidence and assessed it,
Is there any evidence you're a human being? Experiential evidence?
let's
Is
establish.
there any experiential evidence
My response-
that you are a human being?
Yeah, my response to your question would be,
There isn't.
wait a minute, are you going to allow me to answer, or are you going to answer on my behalf?
You're going right out there.
Well, you're
there's
entitled to your
actual-
opinion respectfully,
There's no experiential
Look at this.
evidence that you're a human being.
Are you frightened of my response?
There isn't a response.
Are
I'm
you
telling
afraid
the
of my
truth.
response? Why aren't you allowing me to respond?
Go on, then respond.
Right. First thing is, if you ask a question, I would say, well, should we not collectively establish a criteria? Yes or no?
Yeah, evidence.
Well, we can only consider the evidence after we have established a criteria of what we are trying
Go
to
by your
establish.
experience.
Now, again,
Right.
you're subjective, sir. If we can carry on.
Everyone's got an experience.
It's subjective.
It is not.
Okay, fair enough, you're entitled to your
It's
opinion.
the concepts that are subjective.
Sir,
That's what creates all the bullshit.
well, if that's what it is, you are entitled to that. Going back to what you said, you see,
don't
at
get
the,
it,
at the,
mate. But you keep
I don't
going
get
off
it.
Fucking supernatural.
yeah, you don't need to establish, you don't need to be using expletives. We are
I
having
do,
a
actually.
we are having a civil
But I
conversation
use
here.
expletives.
Eh?
What's the problem with using
But you
expletives?
no, you don't need to.
I know
it sounds
I do.
rude.
I do.
And you are older than me, so I'll respect you out of
You're
it.
an
Right.
older
Go,
person. Some people aren't bothered by expletives.
well, maybe we should learn, shouldn't we?
Why?
Why? Because it makes for
I
a
come here
better
to get
conversation.
angry. I
Oh, well,
come
that's
here
fine.
to let off steam
Anyway,
about
James,
people that believe stuff.
he wants to believe something without wanting to establish this. Good luck, sir. Yeah? But coming back to what we are saying, you see, reasonably speaking, James, I think a position that is held by anyone, they are entitled to that. I have no problem.
Yep.
The problem arises for me as an individual when people will say something, but they will try their utmost to avoid the evidential factor. And this is what makes me think, wait a minute, I think what is happening here is that the human being is merely holding that position because it suits them at that particular time. And when something else hits them next time, they will reconsider their position. But in all of this, you will see, James, in every aspect of our life, if we are not feeling well, who do we go to? We go to the doctor. Why do we go to the doctor? Because he knows more about that particular aspect of life than we do. But you know what? He didn't just wake up and say, I'm a doctor. He had to look at the evidence, hundreds of years of testing, before they established certain things about the human body. Okay? Sorry? What? Brother, what is the word science mean?
Science.
What does it mean? Yes. Are you aware of what the word science means?
It's a method to
No.
discover.
The method is different. What does the word science mean? Do you know? It actually only means, brother, it only means knowledge. It has only been hijacked by a certain group of people. Coming back to you. You see, at the end of the day, yes, whichever way you look at it, we will go to the doctors. If we have psychological issues, we will go to the psychologist or the psychiatrist. These all establish their credentials after having considered the evidence duly. Why are you not doing that for the Creator?
Well, because the Creator, if one exists, is a supernatural being who is beyond the laws of science. You can't collect evidence for something that is supernatural. How can you do that?
I totally agree with you, brother. I'm sorry, what is your name?
If God exists, is invisible. He's outside of he, she, it, they are outside of space and time. How do we mere mortals collect evidence? And please don't say read holy books, because there's 10,000 of them.
Right. I'm sorry, your name, sir?
Tom.
Tom. I'm Shabir. Nice meeting you, sir. You see, you outrightly rejected something. On what basis?
What have I rejected?
Holy books. Why did you reject
them? What I'm saying is that...
sorry, Jay, did I hear you right when you said, and please don't mention holy books?
Because there are 10,000, probably more of them. So I can't consider that evidence in my lifetime.
I respectfully would ask you, where did you get 10,000 from?
Top of my head. I'm guessing...
So it isn't established. Even that isn't established.
But what's your point?
No, the point is this, as James and us were actually alluding to this. You see, if there is a creator, by definition, a creator is not going to be like the created entity. So logic will dictate that if there is a creator...
It's a matter of faith.
No, I haven't even got to that.
But faith is belief without the evidence. You either believe in Hare Krishna, Allah, Prophet Muhammad, Jesus Christ, Rastafari, whoever.
Of course you can. You're allowed.
It's a faith.
It's atheism faith as well.
Belief without evidence.
You can't disprove God, so that's what
Atheism isn't a position of belief. It's not a position
you see,
of
James,
knowledge. It's a position of belief. So when someone asks you the question, do you believe? You say yes or no, right? But when someone asks you the question, do you know? Yeah, we don't say yes. I mean, we don't say no. So we're agnostic atheists. I've never met an atheist who's a Gnostic atheist. Every atheist admits that they don't know, but we don't believe. When someone asks us the question, do you believe? We say no.
Atheism is my lack of theistic belief.
Yeah.
So saying that
it's not a faith-based claim.
Saying that I do not believe in any form of theism is not the same as my saying that there definitely is no God.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is what I like about the position. Sorry, James.
Saying that,
sorry.
like your example of going to the doctor to treat illness, that's like a false equivalence, because illness, it either exists or it doesn't, and I go to the doctor to ascertain that. But there's nothing wrong with not believing in anyone's idea of a creator. You're positing something that may not exist, hence there's probably no God, because you're saying I should go and look for the evidence of one. Possibly. I wouldn't know how to go about that. But a tree, well, that's,
sorry, James.
That's evidence of a tree, not a creator.
James, you just said you don't know, and at the start I said to you, James, what criteria are you going to use to establish evidentially whether your proposition is correct or not? Now you have just made the admission, which I would have expected you to do at the start, that look, you are not entirely sure what criteria you should adopt. If I can just, James, and going to what the brother is saying here about it's a matter of faith, I don't subscribe to the word faith the way it is understood. I don't subscribe to the word believe the way it is understood, and I certainly do not subscribe to the word religion the way it is understood. Going to what the brother here just said, a position is where we are saying we don't know whether there is or there isn't, but the propensity of evidence according to this position is that there isn't a God. Am I correct?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, excellent.
We don't say there isn't a God.
I just said that.
We just say that we don't believe. It's
No,
different.
right.
You don't say there definitely
Excellent.
definitely isn't a creator.
Okay, brother, when you say you don't believe,
Yeah.
is that after you have established it evidentially?
No, I say I don't know, therefore I don't believe.
You don't know, you don't believe.
Yeah.
In order to know, you consider the evidence,
No,
but
don't believing in
one
something
second.
is default. If you say you can fly,
No, one second. Sorry.
Yeah.
You see, the default position you are holding needs to be reconsidered. Here is what I'm saying to you, and I want you to follow it through.
go ahead.
You don't know, so you don't believe. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like I don't know.
One
that
second,
there
one
are-
second.
Can I just?
Oh, sorry,
respond quickly?
please.
Yeah. Just like I don't know there are fairies, but I by default don't believe in fairies.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There could
So
be
that's
evidence that we haven't looked at that will prove the existence of fairies in my garden. I haven't looked at that evidence yet. I haven't.
yeah,
now,
do go on.
now,
But let's not discount.
Now,
fairies.
let's have a look at this, okay?
Okay.
You see, I said to the brother also earlier on that when you apply reason, in order to apply reason, you need the information to be able to utilize reason. Am I right?
It's beyond that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, I'll just take your position. I don't know, so I don't believe.
Yeah.
Is that your position?
Do experiment.
In the same way, like I don't.
No, no,
know,
I just want
don't
you
know
to-
that any fantastical being doesn't
Right,
exist,
the definitions
but
of
the default is to not believe in it.
Right, brother, the definitions of the words you are utilizing are based through experience, and hence you are using the words. Had that not happened, you wouldn't be having these words to utilize. So let's just take it on an evidential basis. You don't know, you don't believe. If you do know, do you believe? Yes or no?
Well, I mean, if you do know,
It's
then
quite a
yeah.
logical,
Yeah,
okay. Now, in order to know, should you not consider the evidence?
Yes, of course.
Have you considered the evidence?
But you can never consider all the evidence. I believe
Respectfully,
in gravity, but I
yeah.
haven't been everywhere. So according to your logic, I can't actually know that gravity works because I haven't seen all the evidence.
Well,
It's ridiculous.
actually, I would agree with you, but here is a reasonable way of curtailing that.
Can I make a point?
Establishing the criteria first. That's all it is, simple.
What do you mean?
But if you want, respectfully, if you want to complicate it, of course, you are entitled to that. But going back to what you are saying, James, you see, I still am asking 15, 20 minutes later, what is your criteria? Because none of you
But what do
respectfully
you
have
mean-
given
what do
me
you
a
mean by
criteria.
criteria?
That's what I was waiting. Yeah, you are entitled to that opinion, but answer the question.
Criteria for
It's
what?
no. The position here being held by the brother here
Yeah.
is that there is probably no God, okay? According to his reasoning, the evidence is not available for him.
See, that's not how I read there probably is no God. Meaning, I
How
haven't
do you
seen
read
any
it?
evidence. So most likely there isn't one. And bad people continue to do bad stuff and don't get punished. Good people continue to do good stuff and don't get rewarded. So probably gravity is going to work everywhere I go.
Yes.
But someone told me that over there's a patch of grass by that tree where gravity doesn't work. So I'm not going to go there. That's ridiculous. Probably gravity works over there.
Okay. The logic is good, but you need to take it to its logical conclusion, which you haven't done. I would ask you this, okay? As a human being, okay, if I wanted to establish something, would I, if it's very important to me, would I consider everything I would consider as available evidence, yes or
I
no?
think the premise for your question is broken.
I
Because we
would-
can never consider everything.
I didn't say that. Listen to me carefully again. What is very important to me, what I would need to know about this particular situation, wherever the evidence is, would I need to consider it?
See, when you say wherever, I hear all.
And what do you
Okay,
mean by
let's
when
read.
that's
impossible.
And I agree, and that's why now I came back to
Do I
you.
just look at enough evidence? I would agree with you.
Let me ask you this. I did say that, okay, in order to curtail that, use a criteria.
The criteria
I did
for
say that. Now, I'm asking yet again.
empirical evidence. That's my criteria.
Now, you see, here we go. Empirical evidence is in the naturalistic world, yes?
Yes.
You won't accept any of that, will you? The tree,
Yeah, there's a tree there.
You're
I'm
talking
accepting.
it's evidence of a creator.
No.
You see, you will not accept any of the naturalistic evidence, so now I need another criteria for you.
You need to do
There could
work.
be
It's
other
quite simple.
You need to do work.
Sorry, what was
between
that?
tree and God.
What did you just say?
wrong.
Why?
Because we're talking about a supernatural being, and you're asking him to consider.
in any
Professor Paul Davis, okay, a scientist, a theist, okay, he said if everything is subject to natural causes, there is no room for supernatural causes. Is that the position you're holding?
Let me turn around on you. So you say the tree is evidence for the
No,
creator.
no.
The tree is evidence of a creator.
No, I didn't say that. I asked you what criteria. You said empirical evidence. I said the naturalistic world, you will not accept any evidence from that. You said no, I would. I said the tree is evidence for the creator, and you said no.
The tree could be evidence, but it's not evidence. It's not all
How are you going to establish that?
because I can see the tree.
No. You just said it may be evidence for a creator. I'm saying, okay, what criteria are you going to use to establish it?
Establish
based
that
on
it is
faith.
evidence, or establish that the creator
See?
exists?
Not evidence, is it? And I'm seeking evidence. You can have faith
Could be
on
multiple
what?
explanations.
Yeah.
There you are.
We don't say.
They may be, they are. Sorry, what was that?
There is evidence that is evolved
There is evidence that the tree evolved.
yeah,
Where is that evidence?
in science.
Oh no, these are just generalized statements and there's no evidence behind
In
it.
any case, there are multiple.
But if we take it forward, you see, again, I'm coming back to it, and for some reason there's difficulty here. I know I will not do that respectfully, brother. If it felt like that, I do apologize. That was not the intention. Yeah. If we take the tree, because I asked what criteria, you said empirical evidence. I said that's in the naturalistic world. You will not accept that evidence. And when I pointed to the tree, you said no.
So
Now,
I'd accept
if
the
I
evidence, but the evidence alone isn't enough.
But now let me turn this around and ask you this. If we take the definition of the word creator, what does it say to you?
In which language?
It doesn't matter which
Hebrew, Greek, Sanskrit? It does matter because in
No,
Hebrew
no.
the word creation means to partner off from.
No, creator.
To create.
I said
That
the
would
word
be the base of
creator.
The word creator.
The word creator.
Creator.
Since me and
But
you are
In
speaking,
Hebrew, to create means to pull off from. In
Okay.
Greek, create means to manufacture from nothing. In Sanskrit, create means to bring into being.
Yeah.
That's different.
What is the
So when you're asking
creator?
what the word creator means.
Yes.
There's more to that than just saying someone who creates.
I'm not saying no. I'm asking you a simple question here, brother. The definition of the word creator, since me and you are communicating and conversing in English, please.
To bring into existence, to make, but then whether it's from nothing or whether it's derivative. So I could create a dish rag from your shirt. Does that make me a creator?
Well, now here is what, where you refer to something, I would suggest this to you. When you talk about a dishcloth for my shirt, my super looking shirt here, okay, no problem. But I would then suggest to you, but this is already pre-manufactured.
Right. So you
Right,
can create
go
from
back,
nothing.
go. Well, look, that you see, you are moving away from the very discussion we are having. I said the definition of the word creator.
Someone
Okay.
who creates.
Right, someone who creates. Okay, let's take it a bit further. If me and you cannot reasonably establish the existence of a creator looking at the naturalistic world, then should we agree on a better criteria between me and you
Criteria for what?
to establish the existence of a creator? That's quite logical, isn't it,
He's
James?
more intelligent than me. I'm a simple person, and Jesus said you either go to heaven or hell. It's your choice.
Yeah,
If you fully believe in Him and then you turn from Him,
yeah.
it's only leaving hell.
No, I totally agree with you. You see, he said something very, very, very sweet. He said in Matthew chapter 6, lay up not for yourself treasures on earth, where earth and moth destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. Rather lay up your treasures in heaven, where earth and moth do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your heart is, that is where you are going to find the Creator. Now that is what Jesus said. But in order for us to accept the existence of Jesus, we would have to necessarily establish the existence of a Creator, and that is what we are discussing right now.
What?
Back to you.
I'm unsure why you're stuck on the word creator. I mean, you started with a shirt that says God.
I'll tell you why. Respectfully, I'm sorry I've forgotten your name, sir. Matt, I'll tell you why. You see, if we want to have a reasonable conversation about the existence of a creator, then necessarily we should have apt criteria, and once we have collectively established the criteria, then look for the necessary evidence to establish whether our proposition holds true.
So you mean a supernatural creator of the entire world? You
Now-
don't mean someone who creates a
Now,
creator.
respectfully, you see, the very word you use now excludes the naturalistic world. Do you agree?
No.
You don't. Okay, so
Supernatural is over and above, not separate from.
yeah, that's
Or not
that's
necessarily.
excluding the natural world then.
But if a supernatural God can't interact with the natural world, it's impossible to see any evidence of that.
That's excellent. But for you to be able to question the validity of a creator, you should first establish there is one. And then you can ask this necessary question. Otherwise, it's a pointless exercise. So I'm still waiting for one of you brothers to give me a criteria which exclude.
The only thing that matters is
Sir, okay, let me.
give
This is as simple as I can get it. Let me. I'm sorry, brother. Sada. I'm Shabir. Basically, it is like this. When you started, you said, "Don't know, don't believe."
Yeah, that's the default.
That's what you consider it to be. I'm saying, okay, you know, you believe. Equally correct, yes?
How do you know?
Using the evidence.
Yes, of course.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in order for us to establish the existence of a creator, because we were just going on what James had got with his t-shirt, I said, well, in order to do that, okay, we need to know what criteria we are going to agree on to establish the existence of a creator. Now, if I can just,
Is that what you mean by criteria?
well, look, if we are going to be talking about an entity, we need to understand what the entity is. Otherwise, it's a pointless exercise again.
We're talking about your God specifically, the one that
who
you
is
believe
my
in.
God?
The one that you believe in.
Right. I will
Not-
just
not Thor or,
respectfully, brother. I will just cut it there, and I will tell you this. I did say the word creator. You'll notice about the word creator is unique.
Fair enough.
It is independent.
I accept that.
Yes, good. Okay, so criteria. James, back to you. We've gone round circle.
What was the question?
Right, okay. Okay, we'll bring this to an end. Basically, James, this is what I would suggest to you. If, as the brother earlier said, what you must not do is exclude any potential evidence. Don't have your biases, not only to you, don't have your biases dictate what kind of evidence you will consider and what kind you will not consider, because that is a sure way of failing in your objective. So if I am saying to you, I said, right, okay, here is how I would establish it. Yes, I would expect a logical, reasonable individual to agree with the proposition that, look, in order to establish something, first a criteria or a hypothesis, and then look for the evidence to ascertain whether that holds true or not, which is what I would respectfully say atheists are not doing, or agnostics.
Great.
Agreed? Excellent. A pleasure talking to you, James.
Most often they're just reacting to
Thank you.
someone else's definition.
So I'm sorry.
Most often they're just reacting to someone else's definition of God. Because if you come to the point of not believing in this one God, you can make the general assumption that anything that looks remotely like that probably doesn't exist either.
Yes.
I mean, Ricky Gervais says, if you believe in God, you just disbelieve in 999 less gods than I disbelieve in.
That is because he is incorrect. Why did you laugh?
I laughed because most people only believe in the gods that they grew up with or the God that they converted to.
You see,
most Christians haven't read the Rig Veda or the Upanishads or the Puranas or any Buddhist literature.
I would agree with you.
Sorry. We still don't say that there's definitely isn't a creator.
I'm not saying you are. What I am saying is that what you must not do is what I can respectfully see, I may be wrong, is that you have put a stop to yourselves and you've decided no matter what happens, I'm not going to move from this position.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm addressing. You see, as the brother said here, what Ricky Gervais said, okay, I would take with a pinch of salt. Why? Because I know that if you actually look at the evidence objectively, you would come to a different conclusion. Now, the one thing I do not like doing is what I would consider spoon feeding. Okay? At the end of the day, we all have our own intellects, we all have our own understanding, we all have our own experiences. As you rightly pointed out, perhaps the majority of the people merely believe in a creator the way they do because of their parents or because of their culture, because of their race, whatever. I am saying, wait a minute, why don't you consider this? Look at the evidence independently and objectively, removing these biases that we all have, okay? Working towards establishing whether this proposition is correct or the other proposition is correct. It's as logical as that.
But the thing is, this isn't a proposition. This is a suggestion.
Okay.
And it's based on probability, not on logic.
Okay.
Right? So if most often gravity works, I probably should just keep on pretending like gravity works. Right? So I don't read that as a positive assertion that God does not exist. And I think you were making the point about a sort of agnostic or an atheist, right? If you're an atheist, you're doing exactly the same thing that religious people are doing. They believe based on, I think you're right, insufficient evidence. And most atheists...
Sorry, what was that? What evidence?
Believe on insufficient evidence. Just
Is
like
is
believe on insufficient evidence. You're right, there's very few people that look at all that stuff.
Matt, on what basis are you saying this about me?
I didn't say it about you.
So I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
I didn't say it about you. I meant you.
But I'm asking you now.
So I'm not
what?
judging you.
Right. Excellent. I am saying, on what basis do you think I may be? Do you think I am just insufficient evidence and all that?
No.
Right. Excellent.
Most people, you're somewhere in the middle where you've looked at stuff. My guess is you haven't read the Bible in Hebrew and the New Testament in Greek and Buddhist scripture in Pali and Sanskrit
Tibetan
and
Book of the Dead.
The Tibetan Book of the Dead in Tibetan and the Rig Veda in Sanskrit and the Purana. I've done about half of that in the original language.
Okay.
So I'm not one of the folks that you're sort of dismissing as not reading this. And the evidence to me is
right. Excellent. So which we you've just mentioned a few. We will probably be on the same page here. The Rig Veda. What does it talk about?
A lot of stuff. So there's
let's
one third of the verses are Indra. There's a riddle creation verse. There's an Indra creation verse. There's a Purusha Sukta creation verse.
Excellent.
There's all kinds of things to Ganesha, to Agni, to Soma. I mean,
excellent. Now tell me, what does it say about a creator?
Well, the Purusha Sukta describes a sacrifice in which the world is created by a uber man being divided and sacrificially creating the universe. The Indra verse talks about Indra killing a snake and releasing the mountain from the water. The Ka hymn talks about who is not actually a god, it's a question, so it doesn't tell you anything about creation.
Excellent. Okay. Now tell me, you read the Jewish scripture also, you said?
Yeah.
What's the difference between their description of a creator and this description?
A lot.
What?
I mean, the names are different. The root verbs for the names are different.
Now, let me ask.
Description of there's 2 creation stories in Genesis. There's only 3, maybe 4 creation stories in the Rig Veda. None of them match up. I mean, they both mention water. They both mention people.
Excellent.
Okay.
Now, if I were to ask you on that basis, for us to consider either of them, and we haven't gone to the Muslims and the Hindus, etc.
The Quran basically does the same thing that the Hebrew Bible does.
What does it do?
It tells the creation story of Adam and Eve. It tells the creation story of Iblis coming down and being too proud about being created out of fire. And
you have referred to evidence which we can't establish.
There's a Buddhist creation story that says the creation didn't happen.
Right. So, that is fine. But all this necessitates a creator.
No, the Buddhists actually explicitly deny that there's a creator.
Well, there are 2 types of Buddhists I'm aware of.
And the Hindus actually question whether there was a
right.
One of the lines in the creation myth in the Rig Veda says maybe he didn't exist.
Okay, if we just on a logical footing here, do you know the story of Gautama Buddha?
Yeah.
When he was under the tree, when enlightenment was coming, who was shooting arrows at him?
Mara.
Who is that?
The god of death.
The what?
The god of death.
He was the god of death.
Yeah.
Who was the god who created that god?
According to the Buddhists, it's an eternal cycle of reincarnation in which each new individual reborn into the new cycle thinks that they are the creator god.
Now,
but they're mistaken about the fact that they're a creator god, they're an eternally existing being.
Logically speaking, can you have an eternal circle?
Yes.
How?
An eternal cycle is just as likely as a beginning.
Right. Do you have to have a beginning?
No.
You don't have to have a beginning?
No.
Right. So at this point in time, you are saying you are going to come down as an animal or something, and I will come down as an ant or something.
I don't have to believe in reincarnation to deny
excellent. Now,
here is.
Sorry, I do apologize. I thought you had.
I don't have to believe in reincarnation to assert that there's a continuing cycle of existence.
Now, tell me how this works with a logical mind here. Can we, according to the evidence that we have available, can we say, James is gone, the position that he held, according to the evidence, did the universe have a beginning?
The evidence is ambiguous. It could go either way.
I said according to his probable cause.
His probable doesn't say whether it did or didn't.
No, I'm asking you
how you should react to the world as you see
Excellent.
it, which has nothing to do with creation.
Excellent. According to the evidence that is available right now, did the universe have a beginning?
It's ambiguous. You're asking me a question.
Tell me
with
why
the
it's
evidence-
ambiguous.
Because it's equally logically likely that the world began or that the world has continually existed.
So
There-
currently the evidence is establishing what?
It doesn't establish it. I'm rejecting
Okay,
your assertion
fine,
that it does
fine,
establish it.
excellent. Right, so we are back to square one again, that we need to establish a standard criteria and then look for the evidence that will establish the criteria in terms of a
But again,
proposition.
I'm rejecting the premise
Okay.
of your question in that we can't see it. So if I bring a box and tell you maybe there's a cat in here, and the only two possible choices are there's a cat in there or there's not a cat in there.
Yeah.
What evidence can you possibly use without opening the box to tell me whether there's a cat in there? or
Right,
not?
again, you see, if I were to use X-rays, I can see through the box. Do you agree?
Yes.
So I can tell you.
Right. The tricky part.
No,
with-
no, no, no. I know what this is about,
the
but
tricky
can you
part
first,
with analogical thinking?
Sorry,
is
Matt.
that no analogy is exactly correct.
logically speaking, you asked a question, I have given a reasonable answer. You said a cat. We are familiar with this
So
example.
What's the
But I'm
X-ray
saying
that will get me beyond the beginning of
no,
the
no, no.
universe?
1 second, 1 second. Let's establish one first. Are you now agreed that, oh yes, there is a way of establishing whether the cat is there or not? Yes or no?
Yes, that is
Okay.
the flaw
So
in
now-
the analogy. Like
well,
all
we do.
analogies, they're not
Absolutely,
perfect.
absolutely.
So I'm asking you to roll
Agreed.
with what I meant by the analogy
Yeah.
instead of just pulling apart the analogy and not getting the point I was making. I mean, if you're
Sorry,
trying to
what is
listen
the?
to me,
No, sorry, Matt. What is the point you're making?
the point is if you are not able to look in the box,
Yes.
it's equally likely that there's a cat and not a cat. And the analogy says that if we look at the universe, we can't see the before or to the beginning of it. So it's equally likely that it began or that it always existed.
Okay, I'll follow your logic to its conclusion. So it is just as equally likely there is a creator or there is no creator.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
And how are we going to establish that?
Establish that they're equally likely?
No, that there is either a creator or there isn't.
I would say it's impossible.
You would say it's impossible. Okay, I would suggest to you that if we were to establish a criteria first and then seek the necessary evidence, you will find the answer.
I still don't understand what you mean by secret criteria.
There we are. Right.
An example?
An example.
No, no,
Give
no,
an
no,
example.
no. For a criteria, you want me to come on,
what
Matt.
is the criteria?
It was a pleasure speaking to you. I'll just give you that email address there. Please do email.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, and we can take it forward.
Great.
Basically,
Good luck in revealing the truth.
thank you very much. Bye bye.